Hi there, lovely. Today, I'm just going to talk about some of the challenges around going out with friends, socializing, and being able to say no when you're offered a drink. It can be a really tricky time, especially when you're in those early stages. So I've got some practical advice on how to kind of navigate that situation, and also how to slightly change your mind about what it is that you're doing. One of the big issues that most women have um, when when they quit and they're thinking about going out and having a social life is we've got this. Most of us, and I was one of them, had this sort of people pleasing gene that when we go out with people, we don't want to say, we don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. We don't want to make anybody feel like, we're not part of the gang anymore. And so we say, yeah, say, go on, just have one. And one always turns into many. And it's not because your friends are kind of bullying you into it. I mean, you might have some people in your life like that, but generally, it's this feeling of gathering, community, togetherness, friendship. It's that let's all be the same. It's that need to feel like you're part of something that is connected, because that's why we do it. And if you decide then to kind of step out of that, that's where you're seen as other, and that can cause a few problems. Before I give you the practical advice, there's a couple of things I just want to tell you about. First of all, the friends who truly, truly love you will still love you regardless of whether you put alcohol in your body or not. I still have friends from many, many years ago who still love me, who I still see, and who don't give a rat's ass whether I'm drinking or not. The other thing is, true friends won't push you to have alcohol in your body when you don't want it. And thirdly, I think maybe as well, it's actually nobody's business but your own what you put in your body. If you've decided that alcohol's not for you, then that should be the end of any conversation. And I know one of the things that sometimes happens is women, we don't tend to, when it's really bad stuff, when we really feel terrible about our drinking and how we feel about what we're doing, we don't tend to be very, very open about how we feel about that. And I'm not saying that that's what you should do, because sometimes it's just too much. But people can misunderstand when you're not being fully open about what it is you're trying to do. Personally, I think, like I said earlier, it is 100% your business what you put in your body. And if you start from that standpoint, it can give you a little bit more confidence to kind of step forward. But here's the practical sort of steps that you can take. The first one is, maybe in the early days, you won't feel ready to go out and drink, be in a crowd that are drinking. Check your calendar, have a look, and ask yourself, do I really have to go? Can I get out of it? Can I, um, can give an excuse or a reason why I don't, I can't go this time? I'm a great fan, to be honest, of lying if it means that you can protect your sobriety. Like I say, it's nobody's business but your own. So if you say, sorry, um, can't come, I'm having the unicorn delivered tomorrow and I need to sort out the rainbow coloured hair, it's kind of nobody's business but your own what it is you're doing. And I know we want to maintain friendships, but believe me, sobriety is a great leveler in terms of who ends up in your life and who doesn't. So check your calendar and ask yourself, do I have to go? Can I give this one a miss? A lot of the women I work with just say, oh, for about a month or 6 weeks or so, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to focus on this. Once you've done that, the next thing to do is, if you've got things that you either really want to go or are kind of a bit unavoidable, like a wedding or something, it's to do some planning. think about the practical things that you can do to be prepared to stay sober. So you can say, for example, you're going to a wedding. You can take the car, you can call ahead and ask the venue if they have alcohol-free alternatives. There's a lot of them around now. And honestly, it might not be something you want to do forever, but I've found having, for a lot of clients, having a glass in the hand that looks like alcohol is enough to stop anybody from asking you questions about it. And sometimes that's just enough to get you, through that and enjoy yourself. The other thing I would suggest is going with a mindset of observation. Now, I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I just mean go to, go and just intend to stay sober for that one event. Don't make any big decisions. Just let's do this one thing. And when you go, just be observant. Look around at what's happening. Very often, when you're in the midst of alcohol and you're with friends, you don't really see what's going on. And I promise you, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at the behaviour of some people, and be probably maybe a little bit horrified. But the other thing, probably the more positive side of it, is you'll probably be very, very surprised at how many people around you don't actually drink that much. I remember working with a client who used to have an annual trip away to a cottage with friends. And she would always, go over the top and get drunk. And she thought that that's what was, that's what the event, that's what it was about. And we talked about how to have a nice time without having to drink. And she came back afterwards and said, I'm absolutely mortified. She said, everybody only drank one or two glasses of wine. I was the only one that was overdoing it. So if you take that sort of observant stance, you'll learn something. You'll learn something about you and how you feel about being in these situations. And you'll learn that maybe it's not as bad as you think it is. One other thing that you can do if anybody starts to ask you and it feels a little bit challenging, is to prepare a sentence. And I completely recommend standing in front of a mirror and kind of saying it over and over and over again until it feels natural. For many of you, the menopause is messing with your hormones, and alcohol, as far as I've been able to see from clients, is it's like setting fire to yourself when if you've got menopause symptoms and you're drinking. It's awful. So you can use a reasonable sort of excuse, if you like, that makes you feel like you're not lying, but you're sort of embellishing the truth a little bit just to shut down the conversation. You can say things like, I just want to be healthy. I just want to be healthy. I've been recommended by the doctor. I was talking to a lady this week who's pre-diabetic and has been told to cut down and to stop drinking, until they get that sort of health condition under control. You don't have to make up an illness, but you can kind of use your health as a good excuse. One of the things that I did, and I did this kind of unconsciously, because I was around a lot of people that I didn't know very well, so I didn't want to become very personal about it. And somebody asked me, who knew I used to drink, and said, "Aren't you drinking?" And I went, "No, I've decided to quit." Oh, why? And it came out of nowhere, and I just said, "Oh, it's just getting in the way of lots of things I would like to do in my life. There are other things that I want to be doing, and it's just getting in the way." That instantly changed the conversation to, "Oh, like what?" So then we're into a conversation about lovely things like more meditation and writing and whatever else. And we're not talking about alcohol anymore. One of the other things that you will find is that there may be amazing women standing in the wings who are sober, who are really looking forward to you being sober. I found this when I stopped drinking. I was out at a social event. I'd stopped and I hadn't been around these two ladies in quite a long time. And as soon as they realized I wasn't drinking, because before they'd been kind of on the periphery of my life, but as soon as I stopped drinking, they were there and we were chatting and it was gorgeous. And I felt so good about my choice to be sober. So that I don't want you to think that a social life isn't possible or that it's a tricky thing to navigate. Very often it is just doing a little bit of planning, thinking ahead, practicing what you want to say, and also the last thing is plan your exit. Very often we know, we can predict the certain point in an evening that it's time for you to leave. There's a certain thing that happens, somebody gets silly, you know, it, you know, that you kind of go, this is my moment to go. I promise you, once everybody else is 3 to 4 glasses in, they're not even going to notice you've gone, unfortunately. And it's nothing to do with you. And that's all about alcohol. So I hope you found this useful. Please like and subscribe. Let me know if you've got any other concerns about your social life and leave a comment there. Or you can get in touch with me by my website, which is julesrutherford.com. And I really hope I hear from you soon. Living a sober life is just the best decision I ever made for myself. I will never drink again. And I love, love, love my life. Please come and join me. It's an amazing place to be. Lots of love. I'll see you soon.